Hey everyone, welcome back to Bathing Dangerous. Today I am joined with my partner, FBI agent Mulder. How's it going today, Mulder?
Going good, thanks.
So today
Multiple.
what we're going to be talking about are three conspiracy theories that are still present in our world today. They might be taking place right now.
Okay, nice.
How do you feel about that, Mulder?
Well, that sounds good. I love conspiracies.
All right, so what I'm going to do is tell you each conspiracy one by one, and then after we're done, you're going to tell me how realistic or possible you think each of these conspiracies are, all right?
Okay, so you're going to tell me all three first, and then we'll discuss them.
Actually, I'll go one by one. So I'll tell you
Okay,
one, you tell
cool.
me. All right, so the first one we're talking about here, I'm sure you've heard of it before, the Large Hadron Collider. So have you heard of that before, Mulder?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
know what you're talking about.
All right, so apparently some people think that it is a device for awakening an Egyptian god. All right, so what do you know about it? Do you know anything about it?
Sort of like it's the big particle collider. I know it produced the Higgs boson particle, which people call the God particle, which you
Wow.
think is the particle that was present at the Big Bang and that everything else came from. I'm probably butchering what it actually is, but that's kind of my loose understanding of what the Hadron Collider's done.
All right, I mean, I know it had something to do with God particle. Let me just give you a little background education first. So, this Hadron Collider, it's a particle accelerator.
Okay.
It's about 27 kilometers long and it's shaped as like a ring. It's a ring shaped tunnel and it's made of magnets. And so it's located around the border of France and Switzerland and it's underground and it's close to Geneva. So that's where it is. It's this big ass circle underground and it's basically a device for awakening an Egyptian god. So what this does, this machine, it takes particles called hadrons and it sends them around this ring in opposite directions. So just picture like two people running. They start at the same spot, but they go in opposite directions. Eventually, they're going to run into each other. So that's what they want to do. They want to smash these particles into one another. And that is what scientists are doing to discover mysteries of the universe. All right. So are you with me
Mm-hmm.
so far? So this one conspiracy, so it's out there, the Hadron Collider, they're saying that when these particles smash into each other, it's going to reawaken the Egyptian god of the underworld, Osiris. All right? That's what some people think. Other people think that it's going to reawaken the Hindu god Shiva. Do you know anything about Shiva?
Not really.
She's the destroyer of the
Okay.
universe.
Right.
So, in an ancient Egyptian mythology, the gods traveled between worlds using like stargates and wormholes. So, if you've ever heard of like the old 90s movie Stargate, I
Mm-hmm.
think it had I forget who it is. Some popular actor back in the day, Kurt Russell maybe, I'm not sure. He was in Stargate and it was about these like scientists and military guys and they were in Egypt and they were finding like hieroglyphics on the wall and then eventually at the end there's like the Stargate that opens up and they're able to see these like ancient alien type things if I remember correctly. Anyways, so they think that when these particles hit each other, they're going to make a wormhole when the particles are smashing into one another and the wormhole is going to open up and it's going to open up either the gates of hell, so that's another one, the gates of hell will open up, or these ancient gods are going to come out and destroy our world. And also, just to get the theorist minds running a little bit more, there's a statue of Shiva outside, like above ground, outside of the building where you go into to access the Hadron Collider. Why is a statue of Shiva outside there, the destroyer of worlds? Anyways, that got their minds running as well. So that's the first conspiracy. So the Large Hadron Collider is basically a device that is going to be used either intentionally or unintentionally to open up the gates of hell or to open up ancient gods from attacking or coming out. What do you think about that
Okay.
one? How realistic do you think, if it was on a scale of 1 to 3, being one being absolutely
It's
like
a small scale.
fiction, never gonna happen, two being like you could possibly, it could, like anything could happen, it could possibly happen, and three being like that's a realistic thing that people should be scared of?
0.
Why do you think it's 0? You don't think that could happen?
No, right. Is the conspiracy whether that will actually happen or not? Is the conspiracy that's why they built it?
Well, I guess it would just be. I guess people are just kind of. These theorists are kind of scared that maybe humankind is messing with things that we shouldn't be messing with, and unintentionally.
Right. If we built a machine to reawaken Egyptian mummies, why wouldn't the thing be built in Egypt?
I guess.
Is it in Switzerland?
Well, they're okay. So you're saying
Okay, the wormhole, like after watching Interstellar, the wormhole thing I can get behind, but as far as that opening the gates of hell and reawakening gods,
okay,
and things, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
So
see
you
that
think
at all.
maybe possibly, maybe humankind, we think we're a little smarter than we actually are. Maybe we open up a mini black hole and then it just like sucks the world into it. What do you think about that?
I'd have more time for these kind of conspiracies if the Large Hadron Collider hadn't produced anything, and they were just like battling particles together at the speed of light, hoping something's going to happen. But the fact they've created particles and observed stuff happening, stuff that they actually intended it to be built for,
Right.
then that says to me that they built it for a reason and they've achieved those things.
All right, moving on.
They built this large collider to awaken gods, and it just happens to do all this scientific stuff as well, which is like a bonus.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, remember this one at the end because I'm going to make you rank all 3 of them together, just the least likely.
The likeliness. Okay, got it.
But here we go. So
well, that's already at the bottom.
Okay, so the second one here, you might know a little bit about it because you're from the UK. So do you know anything about Prince Charles?
Prince Charles, yes.
All right, so did you know that Prince Charles is apparently related to Vlad the Impaler?
Just Prince Charles, like nobody else in his family.
Well,
how isn't the Queen related
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right. So if you know anything about Vlad the Impaler, you know he was one of the main inspirations for Bram Stoker's 1897 Gothic horror novel Dracula. So Vlad the Impaler being the inspiration of Dracula, you might ask yourself, well, who was he? Who was this guy? So Vlad, he was the ruler of Wallachia, which is present-day Romania, I believe.
Okay.
And in the 1400s, he was known as being a pretty sadistic, cool guy. All right. So long story
drank blood and stuff.
Maybe.
Okay.
Long story short, he impaled people on spikes while they were alive. All right. Vlad the Impaler. At one point, he was captured and he impaled rats in his prison cell on wooden sticks. And it was because he couldn't escape his wickedness. So someone was like, yo, why are you doing that to the rats? And he said, I can't escape my wickedness. So that's a little bit about Vlad. Really cool guy, 1400s, ruler, impaled people on spikes, also impaled animals on spikes, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so here's why some people think Prince Charles is related to Vlad the Impaler. So he appeared in a promotional video for the Romanian National Tourist Office, where he said in a joking way, Transylvania is in my blood. All right. Not only that, apparently the royal family has a common disease. I'm going to get this wrong, but it's known as porphyria. I don't know. Have you heard of that before? It's basically like an iron deficiency that makes skin sensitive to sunlight. So I guess this is like a common disease that's in the royal family. All right. So maybe when they go out in the sunlight, it makes their skin sensitive.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? Also, some people say that he's related to Vlad the Impaler because the Queen, it's through the bloodline. So it's like he would be the next inherent ruler for Vlad's throne. Prince Charles would have that blood running through him. So some people think that Prince Charles is a vampire, or maybe the royal family are vampires.
So this guy has some poor skin disease, and then suddenly he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Right? Can you trace the bloodline? Can you go back the family tree and see Vlad the Impaler sat at the top with his wife?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and do some research on it. Okay, so the last conspiracy theory for the day. Have you heard anything about lizard people before?
Living in the sewers.
Yeah, well, yeah, or just in
Or just
Just
in general.
yeah, just among us, just walking
Okay.
around. All right, so
That's
basically,
always like the tinfoil hat lizard people in the sewers like
yeah,
conspiracy joke.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So here's how it goes. People actually believe in this. This is a out of all the three that we've looked at, this one has the most popularity behind it. So basically, it goes like this: humanoid reptilians, they have the ability to shapeshift into human form, and they've been working undercover since ancient times. And so some people think that many notable figures that are these lizard people include Queen Elizabeth, George Bush, the Clintons, and all these lizard people. What do you think they're after? If you could pick one thing, what do you think the theorists are saying about these lizard people?
What are they after?
Yeah, like what's their main
Um,
goal?
it can't be anything like money or power. That's too easy.
It's world
Um,
domination.
well, okay, lizards in charge.
Right.
Okay.
So now you might be asking yourself, how does one spot a lizard person?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here on it, when I looked up this stuff, the main leader of this like theory, I think his name is David Icke, if that's how you say it. Here's how he says you can spot a lizard person. So green eyes, good eyesight, red hair, a sense of not belonging to the human race, unexplained scars, and low blood pressure.
Okay.
All right, so when you look at those qualities, does that seem like anyone that you would possibly know?
I can't think of anybody with red hair and green eyes with low blood pressure. So, hold up. You said that these people believe that like Clinton and stuff were these people.
Yeah.
So they've got themselves to like some serious positions of power. So why is nothing being advanced for lizards? Why are lizards still in like 2x4 tanks with
Well-
like heat pads?
Oh, you mean like these lizard people would want to save their brethren, their brothers and sisters, their little lizard friends?
Is that not what they're trying to do?
I don't know. That's a good question. I
Okay.
thought that they're like a completely different, like almost like the way that humans look at apes or like ants. Like they don't give a shit about those things. They're
Oh,
kind of
okay.
just
They just want to be their own thing.
yeah, maybe. But here's why. So some people they believe in this big lizard takeover that lizards are almost impossible to see. So some believe that you can see these like physical attributes, and others think that it's more of like a soul changing thing, and it's not like a physical body costume. So there's like absolutely no way that you could tell if a person is a lizard person.
Hmm.
So now, last thing, these lizard people, they come from the constellation Draco, okay, which is
Ooh,
shaped
that's
like
cool.
yeah, which is shaped like a dragon. And so
Yeah.
the main theorist behind this, David Icke, he believes that these lizard people have been visiting Earth since ancient times and basically just fucking humans, which results in more lizard people to continue to spread into places of power in the world for world domination.
I think people just look at famous people and think, hey, I'm just as good or attractive or whatever as them, and think, why isn't that me? And think it must be something otherworldly that's interfering that makes them not a powerful person.
Ah,
I think it makes them feel better.
so you're not a fan of the lizard theory.
I think it's ridiculous.
All right, just quickly, since we're at the end
Okay.
here of these three, if you had to pick one out of the three that you think would be most realistic, most able to actually happen in our world, which of the three would you think it would be?
Prince Charles. That's definitely the most realistic. It's
Prince-
just a bloodline from a guy who actually existed.
Yeah, but what about vampire part?
Oh, him being a vampire.
Yeah,
That's more difficult.
okay.
That
But
makes it tougher. It's still, I can still get on board more with that than lizards, though.
And then out of the three, what is the absolute you would put your life on it not being true, not being real, not being able to happen in the future?
Lizard people.
Really? So you think there
Yeah.
there is a possibility that the gates of hell could open from the Hadron Collider?
I believe in hell, believe in wormholes. I can't see it. I can't see them being linked, but like there you go. I believe in them more than lizard people coming from the Dragon constellation.
All right, there you go. You heard
there
it
it
from
is.
FBI agent Mulder right there. Lizard people is definitely not a thing. The gates of
No.
hell might possibly open, and Prince Charles could possibly be a vampire. So thank you for listening, everyone. If you could please subscribe, click below, subscribe, give us a like maybe, or a dislike if you want. Tell us what you want us to talk about next, and we will see you all later on. Have a good day or night.
See you soon.